One.
One.
One last
One.
time.
Full
One
circle.
last time.
We're back with a little post-mortem about the campaign. Terra Nullius is over, guys. Whoa, crazy.
Mortem.
I don't think it's really hit me
1
yet, to
second.
be honest.
No, it hasn't hit me either.
It's only hit Caleb's voice.
There were less tears than I thought there would be.
I know,
know.
right?
I held myself together so well.
Yeah.
I didn't even cry. I started tearing up, but I didn't cry at all.
There was definitely emotions. Like, I got
Right.
emotional when Miggy was talking to Darius. But other than that,
Yeah.
we're good to go.
First off,
Mhm.
Caleb, how much experience do I get for level 8 and 20 sessions working on killing Mazul?
You're now level.
No. Give me
Yeah.
the exact experience, Caleb. Calculate it out. I need to know.
10 million.
I need
You said 20 sessions.
20 sessions.
I'm gonna laugh if this still isn't enough to get you to level 20.
It's probably not going to be enough. But that's fine. I just need to know. Since experience doesn't matter to R anymore, she's a god. Atabai is, I guess, a little more.
I think you get 40,000 XP.
Yeah, that gets me exactly to level 19, baby. I level up.
Congrats.
Congratulations, Em. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Y'all are. Let's just make y'all level 20. There you go.
No,
You're all level 20.
no, they're gods. It doesn't matter.
Hey, Darius
I
is
was
dead.
a god. I'm not anymore.
Darius is dead.
Yeah. So I mean, speaking of that, one of the things I'm wondering about, and obviously this doesn't even necessarily have to have an answer right now, but who in the heck took up the rest of the aspects? Right? Like, there's just 3 sitting there.
I mean, if Adeline got called for one, she'd take it.
I mean, we'll have to just see, right? Like, when I plan out the next campaign. we'll
Lolly
have to
gets
figure that out.
rezzed. Could she take fire?
So that is a question, actually, I was going to ask you, Raya. You do have the ability to resurrect people as a cleric.
Yeah.
Would you have done that?
Yeah, it would have taken until the next day.
But you would have
also-
resurrected Keelali?
But the other issue is that I would have to find have to find a diamond.
Oh, we have plenty of diamonds.
I think, yeah, I was going to say...
Diamond's worth at least 25,000 GP.
Oh.
So, Raya, I think you can true resurrect one person. Like, you could find or like get a diamond from someone to resurrect one person if you wanted to. So if you want to resurrect Keelali, feel free.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
You could resurrect Toity.
Oh, leave Toity
Yeah,
alone.
I know.
Woody's body, who knows where it is at this point? Like,
It's Ash.
it's which true resurrection could still do.
I think bringing back Keita Lolly makes the most sense.
Let me make sure for disintegrate. It says specifically true resurrection. Yeah, can be restored to life. Yeah, I mean, like, she's the only person that I can think of that I would want to use.
It makes sense to resurrect her as like kind of a figurehead for the Genasi.
I did just realize something though. Everyone got merged into one.
Mm-hmm.
Atabai's not in his own body.
Yes, good question.
Obviously, like, we had a thing for afterwards. So, like, did he just get put back in his body?
I think so, right? That makes sense.
Because his body still existed.
Sure.
We never did anything.
So
with
you're
it.
a human now,
I don't like that.
like a regular human,
I really don't.
not
like
even
that.
a Genasi.
LOL.
I really don't like that.
Wait, the Tabaxi go back to being human?
No, just on Tabai because he
He
wasn't
was
a
never
Tabaxi originally.
Tabaxi originally.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
That's funny.
I don't
There you
like
go.
that at all.
And
So
we
that
could-
last conversation was with the human.
Well, so this is the thing.
Atabai.
Atabai, I assume you could probably figure out some way to like shapeshift yourself or something,
Mhm.
or disguise self, that sort of thing, to make you should pretend you're a Tabaxi at least for now. But yeah, that's your situation.
He's probably what he does is he probably does figure out a way to make himself into a Tabaxi again because he's like, no, I've lived like this for too long. I can't go back to being a human.
Well, enough so
mean-
you'd be a hypocrite.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think about that at all when I was originally saying it. So yeah, that would have played out a little different probably.
We could say that Asabai is just ashamed of it and he like hit it.
Yeah. I'd also like to say, so I started today with this much left filled.
Nice.
Exactly.
Nice.
Aw, how poetic.
And the notebook
Awesome.
for my 2 notebooks.
So I wanted to say what I was planning for the last
go
couple
ahead.
months to have to happen to Ari. So here's what I thought was going to happen. I thought I was going to have Caleb was going to make me roll another freaking persuasion check to see if Mickey would be with me or not. And so my whole plan was I was going to go up to him and have this whole moving speech about how no matter what I say, I'm not going to be able to convince you. I just know I'm not going to be able to. Roll the persuasion roll, and then if I succeeded, that would be a nice happy surprise. But if I failed, then I already knew it would, so it was fine. I was honestly not expecting to end up with Mickey at the end of this campaign, but what I was thinking would happen was I'd go back to Navarro's camp with everybody, and that a few days later, as she's just kind of gathering her stuff, and she's gonna go be a wanderer, right? And she's gonna protect the cave and stuff like that. A person comes up to her holding the hand of a 1-2-year-old boy and with a letter attached to it, and it says the broad died, this boy is your problem now, and then signed a lord or whatever, and it's addressed to Mickey,
yeah.
And it's his son. And Ari was gonna, have the. Yeah, that would have been fun. But I like that I get to be with Mickey as a god better, so it's all good.
So I just imagine this child growing up and finding out, oh, by the way, Daddy's actually a god.
Yeah,
that's true.
Also, I'm not your mother, but
So, obvious question to go around is, what's everybody's favorite Terra Nullius moment? What stands out to them? I think for me it still is Mickey's ascension to godhood. That scene still just sticks out of my mind. That whole sequence, just brilliant.
Personally, I just because it was so cool, and partially because also we broke the rules doing it, when Toity managed to hold himself against every other member of the party. That was just a moment. I can think of a side story moment that happened that was really cool. The one where you TPK'd us all and we managed to still make our way out. It's when we killed him. It's when we killed the god of life.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really fun to have those side stories, and then they all kind of tied together by the end, and literally at the end, pretty much everyone's side story characters were there except for Shayla and Rosamie or whatever, but Bootsy ended up being there.
Yeah, I was not expecting that.
He's part of the new Pantheon, guys.
I don't know. Probably one of my favorite moments that like still sticks out to me was just like the whole like a good chunk of season 2, right? With like the scenes with Calvitas and
yeah,
you know, and then Mickey and Ari's like beginning stages of like, you know, and the first time when we were all, it was actually funny. So one of my students is watching season 2 right now, and she just finished that part where she's like, oh yeah, you all like met for the first time. And I'm like, oh yeah, like that was such a good episode too. Like, and what a great classic line of like,
I'm dirty.
I'm dirty. I sleep with animals and I'm not a Christian.
I'm not a Christian.
That was during CaliCon.
Yes, it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That was good.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, those were great times.
I really like, you know, season 1 really, I feel like it's kind of like Harry Potter. It started out so nice and pure and then got really dark. So just thinking back on season 1, pure Terra Nullius, book club.
Book club, man.
Yes.
Oh, good times.
Book club.
And that's what I'm excited for, like with the new campaign, is doing silly stuff like that again, you know, where it's not just all serious all the time. you know,
And
where
that's one thing I'm hoping, like, even if it does get to a point where it does start to get more serious, that it's also like it has that lighthearted aspect to it later too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's really easy to like get into the nitty gritty and not come out of it once you're like that far in.
And I mean, yeah, but I feel like our whole campaign just turned so serious. It was just like,
Mhm.
Yes, it did.
"Yay, the weight of the whole universe is on our shoulders. Cool.
Mhm. I'm really excited for the new campaign because I get to play around with what happens when the world changes, right? When we get to see the ramifications of what you guys as characters did. And now your characters are the legends of this new world. Like, people know about, in some small part at least, what happened there. You know, word will get out about something that happened. And we'll be able to see, like for one, resurrection magic will work regularly now, right? It works normally now. So it'll be fun to just kind of play around with that stuff. So
I think one of my favorite scenes of the whole game, of the whole campaign, was, or maybe at least one of my favorite Darius scenes was one when he got Death's Hood initially,
yeah.
That was super
Um,
cool.
and two when Darius said it'll be on my terms, which totally came to fruition.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That was the fun thing. That's the part I liked about Darius is you as a player, Jordan, just like going along so readily with like the Darius is gonna die and everybody knows it, and like just leaning into that instead of like trying to run from it. It was so satisfying for me as a GM just to be like, now we can kind of just see this slow build to like Darius being a serious and emotional character, like knowing that his role at the end is going to be sacrifice yourself. Like the moment when, like, and it wasn't even that I was like trying to like make the prophecy come true. It was just like, I knew the stakes at the very end there and knew that like there were chances. And if you had succeeded on those intimidation rolls, then something else would have happened. Right. But like the luck of the dice, like that session was horrible for rolls. Y'all rolled so bad, which was cool for me as a GM because it set the stakes were so high and like it kept being like, oh no, like this is gonna be really bad.
That's
Well,
like,
and-
I love playing with you as a GM, Caleb, because I feel like I know if the rolls are bad, like there's actual consequences. You're not just going to be like, everything turns out okay. Like,
Yeah.
it's really like, no, the world is about to end because we can't get ourselves together.
Yeah,
And
awesome. Good to hear that.
what it does is it forces us to get really, really creative and draws out an even better story. Like the whole thing with like,
Yep.
well, now I need Ari to come here and redeem this.
Yep.
And honestly, that's one of the things that frustrated me about me creating Autobuy. Is I felt like I had no creative options to do anything. Like in this last combat, I'm like, the only thing I can do is punch. Like I can't use anything with my, and maybe that's part of coming in halfway through, having him come in halfway through the campaign, so he didn't have those like super like
slow building like cool meta magic stuff.
That's
yeah,
ingrained into the plot. Everything I
Yep.
had was ingrained into the character, but not the story.
Yep.
So there was a lot of moments where I'm like, well, my magic doesn't really do anything. And because I built the magic more to be more a supportive role instead of attacking role, so I could base off of other things. And it's just, I ended up building Teppan in a way that ended up becoming irrelevant to the plot.
And like we had good moments with Teppan / Autobuy, like plot related stuff like that. Like the whole thing with the ring, like all of that was interesting.
Oh, yeah.
It's just that at the very end, this story wasn't about Autobuy.
It was,
right?
he just became like, he was pretty inconsequential in this whole last episode, which is kind of like unfortunate.
He's not inconsequential with the ramifications of the future of the world.
Yes.
Right? The fact that Autobuy is still here and still kicking and like, listen, these people will not be taken over. Yeah. That's gonna like, it's an alternate history now. Like it legitimately is an alternate history in Earth because up to this point, like history is more or less gone the same as ours. But now like South America doesn't get depopulated by conquistadors, right?
Which is
that doesn't happen.
Which is why I said at the beginning, it'll be interesting to see who survives at the end, because that was the only real impact I feel like Autobuy could have on the story is how that panned out.
I mean, you could have like betrayed them all in the middle of the battle. That would have been.
No, that wouldn't have helped. That would have just made the world end. What good would that have done him?
Yeah.
So, there was something that came to mind.
Guys, now we can all watch the fountain.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
So okay,
Right.
we all gotta watch that. Maybe like when we're in Wisconsin together or something. That'd be fun.
Yes.
But I think Caleb will want to watch it with us.
When are you gonna be there? When are y'all gonna be in Wisconsin?
Friday.
Friday. Okay. Yeah. There's no way that's gonna happen then.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. There's no way.
But
Unless
you wait to watch it
No,
with
no,
me.
I meant like you're not gonna be able to be there, Caleb. We all know that.
No, but you should wait to watch it with me.
But what I was gonna say,
Okay.
if maybe like one of these next Thursdays, if instead of watching,
Honestly, I would be okay with that because it's only an hour and a half long. So yeah, if one of these Thursdays before June 5th, you guys want to like take an hour and a half and watch the fountain, let's do it. That'd be fun.
I'm down. Yeah.
watch it over Zoom. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Totally.
we can like critically analyze and be like, all right, what?
Yes,
all
for the
did
for the
Caleb
audience
pull?
from the beginning, Caleb had told us that he took inspiration from the movie The Fountain, and that none of us were allowed to watch it because none of us had seen it before until the campaign was over. So now we get to watch it and understand.
And I gotta say, by the end of the campaign, like this session, I took a lot more inspiration in those last scenes. Like there are a lot of things that I drew from the fountain. There will definitely be moments throughout the entire movie where you just be like, "Hey, I get that reference." Like,
Hey.
Hey.
Yep.
That's funny.
you know what we should do? We should record that. We should record
fun.
our
Yeah.
reactions right to you guys watching the
That would
fountain.
be
That'd be fun. I'll do that on my end.
Sounds good.
Any other
Well,
thoughts?
I was just gonna say, like, Terra Nullius, like, to me, like, you know, means so much more than just like a D&D campaign. You know, like Terra Nullius to me is like my friendship with you guys.
Mhm.
You know,
Now it's all over.
And maybe
now it's all over. No, it's like to me, Terra Nullius is like, instead of Terra Nullius being the whole book, right? Terra Nullius is chapter 1, right?
maybe that's why it doesn't feel like the campaign is over, because I'm like, we're still going to be playing, so it's like
Yep.
in that sense it's not
Yeah.
over.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
so-
if for some reason we were just not gonna do D&D anymore together or like hang out, it would have been like tears everywhere, right?
Yeah, this would have been
Oh.
really
So
bad.
guys, I've got some bad news. That
No.
that
no,
whole
Go
thing
ahead.
with Darius dying and leading up to that, I'm actually dying tonight. Actually, no, but this is okay. This is going to sound really morbid transitioning off of that, but in all seriousness, I just found out a little bit ago that there's actually a tornado headed towards my sister's house, or like towards Salina. So if you guys could be in prayer for that, about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, totally.
That's
Of course.
scary.
Yeah. I mean, I am in Tornado Alley. This is
Yeah.
Kansas. So it's like, you know, in a sense, we're almost due for one. But still, it's.
Yeah.
I say we. Like, I'm so far away from that there's no way that.
Yeah.
But Crystal is. It is heading towards Crystal.
Well, I would just like to say that I feel like you guys have pretty much ruined me for like playing any other D&D campaigns with other people for the most part, because you guys
Same.
are like
I couldn't play D&D with the other with my other group. Like I couldn't do it. And part of like there was a lot going on with that, but still like just it doesn't get better than this, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I would just like to say from the bottom of my heart, you guys are the best players I've ever had with anything. And I don't say that to be like, oh, like because I played with the other people that I play with like for almost our entire childhood. Like we have deep like inside stuff. Like there's a lot of good stuff there, but there's something about the chemistry of this group that just clicks so well. And it is a joy to play with you guys. So
Yep. You guys know how much you mean to me.
Oh,
How like
ditto.
crucial of a point in time you guys hit in my life. I'm gonna get a tattoo of all your faces, just like
Please don't.
do that. Don't do that.
Look, I
Just-
literally got a tattoo that has to do with you guys 2 days ago. So, I mean,
I mean, I think for me, like, I just feel like this group was so like I don't say this about a whole lot of things, but I feel like it really was like God ordained, you know, like because half of us weren't even supposed to be here. I wasn't supposed to be here. I was going to be a temporary character, and found out through a random live stream one-off comment thing from Seth, you know. Not gonna lie, like, yeah, exactly. Right.
I had literally been thinking, man, I really wish I could play D&D with some Christian friends.
That's probably the thing I have Seth to thank for the most of all of my life is making Emily a part of this.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say like the original post, because you posted in the group saying like doing RPG
well, yeah, I mean,
stuff.
I guess that too, right? But like that, yeah.
Because I remember it very well, because you posted you're doing RPG stuff. I was like, D&D RPG kind of stuff. You're like, yes, like, dude, we should do stuff. And like Ellis was like, yeah, we should do stuff.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. Wow.
That was our first interaction way back. Well, I think anyway. I don't remember exactly.
No,
we were part of the book
we were in a
club
writing
thing.
group.
Yes,
we were in a writing group before
that.
that.
Yeah. I remember that.
I don't remember how exactly those two lined up, but yeah, it was.
I remember thinking, I'm not gonna lie, like we've all discussed this before, but you know, for people on stream and whatnot, like I remember thinking, Seth was just like one of the most annoying people I've ever met in my whole life. And
I don't think, let's be honest, I don't think any of us have actually changed our minds on that. It's just that we now love him.
No, I don't think he's the most annoying.
And I can understand why you'd feel that, because I like being a bit annoying. I'm not gonna lie.
It's part of your charm now.
It is. But like, I'm so glad that God is just like, you know, brought you all into my life, and like, you know, that I can say that and that I have a good and I think that's the cool part, is that we all click together so well as a group, but we all have relationships individually with each other too that are also just solid, you know.
There's a reason,
like I appreciate that.
There's a reason you guys are on my wall.
I have now opened every letter of that book, by the way.
Oh, good.
Oh yeah, mine's somewhere. I don't know.
Mine's not in this room. I don't actually think I've hung mine up yet.
Mine's up there actually.
We all got to take a new photo together at the wedding.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Duh.
And like, this is also such a cool thing too, that like, here we are 3 years later, and we literally, I remember talking about this like 2-3 months after we started playing together. We were like, so like, Caleb, like when you get married, right? Like we're all going to come, right? And you're like, sure, you guys can come, you know, whatever. And now
I wouldn't want it any other way. If you guys didn't come, I would be heartbroken.
Yeah, I was going to say.
From the moment I invited myself to your house at 3:00 in the morning.
And I love you for it. But yeah, what you were saying there, Alyssa, I think is really cool. Like that we all have kind of individual relationships that are very different. Like we have a lot of different we have a lot of shared interests, but each of us has like interests that we specifically share with like individual people in this group. And it's fun to not only have that in like our real lives, but also just in the game, right? Like there's just certain stuff that's just really fun to like see players and me and you guys like interact in certain ways, and that have become, you know, almost cliches at this point, and just the continued camaraderie and the kind of way those relationships develop. And not only like the personal life stuff, but just how things that happen in D&D then are informing the jokes that we tell in our real lives, and it's just all mingled together in this one big lovely pie.
I mean, yesterday, for people who are watching on stream later, yesterday I was like one car length away from being in a car wreck, and it was really kind of scary. And you guys were one of the first people I messaged. Like I have close friends who still don't know that happened here locally.
I love how this has turned into let's talk about all of our friendships.
So okay. What else there to talk about in that sense?
I have a Terra Nullius thing.
Cool.
So did Raya ever learn to trust New Darius?
I guess, because she didn't really have a choice. She had to trust everybody who she was with, because like that's the people who were fighting the evil forces of evil to save the world with her. Like there's no other option.
I'd also like to think that Ari, with her new godlike powers, just like calls upon like the god of lightning or something like that, and just strikes Samuel in the heart. It's just like, bye-bye.
Yeah, I'm sure that would be a great start to your tenure as the goddess of life.
She can get Miggy to ask. He's the god of death.
I mean,
we are one flesh now, so.
Here's the thing. She's the goddess of life. He doesn't deserve it. So, ergo, he dies.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, that argument would have worked with Darius then when he tried to bring Sabu back. It'd be like, I'm the god of death. He doesn't deserve it.
It's true.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
Someone
No,
in the
I
Pantheon
know.
can take care of it for her.
Nah,
Yeah.
Sabu has already promised me that he would, and I trust Sabu, so.
Well, no, but they went off to go read books. Hey, if anything...
but if Sabu's gonna make a promise, I feel like he'd be like, all right, Raya, we gotta like go
Yeah,
take care
I
of
think
this.
at one point there is a moment where like Sabu's like, hey Raya, there's something I need to take care of, like, and then just goes and talks to Samuel, and Samuel wouldn't kill Sabu, so like they have it out, and who knows what happens there, but that does happen at some point.
Well, if he stays on the Yolotli Basin, he is not a friend of the Yolotli Basin.
Yeah,
It's true.
I don't know if we'll ever find out the future of Samuel.
Probably wouldn't even matter if we did.
I don't know, good riddance.
Mhm.
I hated
honestly,
that character so much.
I'm kind of curious what happened to Adeline, because the verdict has it out for her. She's not immortal as much as she wishes she was. I don't know.
Yeah.
Another thing,
Yeah.
like it probably
I'd like to think
Adeline
that-
does not need to be immortal when she's already invincible.
that is true.
Fair. I feel like Adeline maybe, I don't know. Like
I feel like
Wait.
maybe she goes the rest of her life trying to find like unicorn blood or something like that.
Probably.
talking to Lucian. There you go.
Okay, wait, Caleb. You can tell us this. I hope now that this campaign's over. Why didn't he want Keatlali alive?
Oh, I mean, I'm not gonna tell you that because it's gonna be part of the next campaign.
Ah!
Yeah, I knew it. I knew
Ah!
The main thing about that sort of stuff, when I start dropping new things like that, you know that's not for this campaign. That's for the next one.
I thought it may have become relevant if Keatlali had lived.
I mean, she did, right? Raya raised her.
Oh, right. No, she did. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that
So-
probably came to Raya's mind, right? Was that I need to raise her of all people because like
That's true.
supposedly she's gonna have something to do with him later. So
And she is like I can tell you that like Alyssa and I have been talking about some things in just general like future campaign stuff, and there's some fun stuff in store for stuff like that, right? Where it's like the little seeds that we've planted in this campaign will
Well,
come to
and,
fruition
like-
with various characters in the next one. So
And like Akashi and Mira are going to be on the run from the verdict too.
mm-hmm.
And that's
yeah,
one
we
thing
gotta
I
go
was-
get our son.
Yeah, and then the bad thing,
The bad thing is that it's with. Yeah.
Grandmaster Corrin is part of the verdict, so he's not gonna like attack you or anything, but he's gonna be like, "Sorry guys, like."
I don't think he's
going
going to attack our son or anything
That-
like that.
that's-
But like, I here's what I'd like to think Grandmaster Corrin does. Right? He probably like gives us, lets our son go, and then just says, "Run. You've got
Yeah,
a day head start, and then I'm on your tail."
Well,
Probably.
so I feel like Grandmaster Corrin would be pretty faithful to the verdict. Like honestly, I feel like Grandmaster Corrin would probably be like trying to work cards out and things in the background to have a new leader of the verdict. If you catch my drift.
Sure. Yeah.
I bet, actually, come to think of it.
Well,
since-
maybe Grandmaster Corrin just starts his own faction that's like the verdict.
That wouldn't be a good idea.
One thing, actually, come to think of it, because Adeline knows that Mira and Akashi are on the run too. She'd probably just hang out with them. Because
Honestly,
That makes sense.
Forever
That's-
third wheel.
oh, she doesn't, darling, she does not care.
I know.
I mean, it would be a fourth wheel when they get their son.
The way she,
There you go.
are.
Adeline marries their son.
no,
No.
no, Adeline would see it as she's taking care of them, like little children.
That makes sense. And it would be safer to stick together anyway.
True.
So yeah.
Safety in numbers.
Yeah, I'm very excited for new campaign stuff like that.
I'm
Okay.
curious how Bootsy works as a god with all his spectral chickens.
He's got Miggy and Arya to help him and
Was-
wisdom.
Was the one campaign or the one session that I DM'd, is that canon?
I think so. So there is a brother of Darius out there somewhere.
Question. I don't know if this is
And the
something you can
vampire guy.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if you can say this, but what killed the chicken god?
The Devourers.
Okay.
Yeah, the chicken god got involved in something they were doing, maybe inadvertently, but they killed him. Yeah.
So since he was also one who didn't want the godhood, he probably didn't realize what he was getting into, something like that.
I think so. I think it was basically just like he stumbled into something, realized something about the Devourer's plan, and it was like, oh no, this is bad, and then they killed him. He was probably trying to hide for the most part, because I'll answer. I mean, one thing that basically happened, right, is the world was going on like normal. These gods were the gods of the old world, the various gods. They were squabbling and killing each other. But then the gods that were the gods, or most of the gods that were the gods of the current timeline, were the Mesoamerican gods. When the Devourers came, and the Mesoamerican gods like welcomed the Devourers and were like, "Oh, these are great, cool people that we can like get power from." And then the Devourers killed them, and like took over and did all of their stuff they did. And then gods, new gods came, but they were few and far between. Most of the aspects were broken, and all the stuff in the campaign happened. And now, hopefully, the pantheon is being rebuilt better than it was before.
So I have a question for you, Caleb. Is there anything we missed? That like any detail or anything that passed by that like is it not going to be relevant to the future?
There's definitely stuff like that. If you guys have any questions about something that didn't make sense to you, or like you had a question about that, you could ask that too.
Wait, that's why I asked
I'll bring in my notes though.
That's why I was asking about the chicken god. One thing we always could do technically, which might be fun if we ever have like a time where we need to do a side story where Emily is gone, we could always go back to Akashimir and Adeline.
I think I would prefer, like, when we start that new campaign, we just start fresh, and any side stories we do are in the current timeline, just because it would be way easier to do it that way.
Oh, I'm just saying, because anything that happens would probably be relatively inconsequential. It'd be them running away from the verdict or something like that.
Right, but because it's relatively inconsequential, I'd rather it not be done at all, right? And then we can just do new side stories that might tie into what's happening.
I just liked Adeline.
No, yeah, I know you did.
Honestly, I wish I had built Adeline instead of Octopi.
Yeah.
If I built her instead of Tep, it would have worked so much better. But it wouldn't have made sense story-wise.
I think at that point you had already made Adeline before all that.
That you had, yeah.
Yep.
Adeline's been around a long time.
Because I think I may have asked actually if I could bring her in instead, and we said no.
It just didn't make sense for the current timeline.
Yeah,
so there's actually quite a few things in my notes that I still don't know the answer to.
Like what?
Like that the Yuan-Ti woman and the fire genasi man that you met at the very beginning.
From the very beginning.
Oh, yeah.
The one that I wanted to dance like.
They were obviously called to like the orb to like take it up, but like I don't know anything more about them. Like there was something that happened with them, like because they were like they weren't actually he wasn't her slave. Like they were actually like friends or lovers or something. And who knows what that was about, but like I don't know.
Look, I know a thing or two about forbidden love.
Fair.
What was Yumchikop's
Nice
what was Yumchikop's story exactly? Did we know it? Is it
you pretty much just got it. It was literally just like he was doing his normal ogre thing, like he was just hunting or tracking or something, and got the call from the orb, and then it just drove him insane.
Could it be that the two were they were actually like maybe now they're humans again? What if they weren't humans before, or what if they were humans before and?
Well, the Yuan-Ti probably would have been turned back to normal because, and the thing about that is like obviously the Genasi won't turn back because the reason the Yuan-Ti turned back into humans is because their transformation was a devourer thing. Right. That's why it happened, right?
So we don't have Yuan-Ti in this world anymore, huh?
No
Yuan-Ti.
Yep. Let's see.
No Yuan-Ti.
Darius, when Darius made a wish in the wishing well, that really never came back. Like you actually made a wish and it glowed and everything, and then I don't know.
What
like
was the wish?
I guess it came true though. Like I wish we could all live normal lives.
But do you remember the thing with the wish? Like I didn't throw a coin in.
Right, but Raya did.
Oh.
And it was still in there.
Oh, nice.
But I guess it came true. Like we just never talked about it again. But it did. It came true. Everybody lived their lives. Yeah.
Somewhat normal. Some of people are dead. That's kind of funny. Darius became a god twice, and both times it never lasted long.
Yeah. I think we all. But I think that was just in the cards, right? Like that's the character that Darius played.
And it's amazing that he became both the god of death and the god of life.
Yes.
I just found it was funny that like both he became both, and like both times like it was just such a short period of time.
What's funny about that is the God of Life thing. That was Darius's suggestion, right? That was Jordan's suggestion. I wasn't thinking in those terms, and then Jordan was like, "Wait a second, like there's other aspects, right? Like, what if I like went for the God of Life?" And I was like, "Whoa, that makes a bunch of other stuff that I was thinking about make sense, and let's do it." So that was a cool addition. There was definitely a lot of stuff at the end there that really surprised me, that I didn't expect, and kind of wove together nicely. The things that I knew I wanted to happen, and like try to not like force it to happen, but like see if I could weave it so that it would end up happening, was Raya stepping on the pedestal and seeing all of herself. That was I had that moment like a couple months ago. I saw that scene in my head and I was like, that's how it ends right there. That's everything.
It's the Spider-Man meme that somebody made. Who made that?
Exactly.
And then
Seth, I think.
I probably it was
or Jordan. No, it was Jordan. It was Jordan.
I was like, is Seth or Jordan who sent that? And it's like, it's
It was
me.
so perfect.
And then Darius.
No, I'm the one that made this. Like, I took the faces and put the.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was you, right?
And then
That
obviously
was
Darius
perfect.
sacrificing himself. Like I had thoughts on that whole time. Other than that, I'm looking through my notes right now, trying to find other stuff that like I know there's other stuff that like there was this weird prophecy that Zaman said and Kamazot said. Upon the day the land flows like water, the foreign one shall usher forth the dawn of men. I still don't really know what that was supposed to mean.
Okay. Say that slowly.
Is that like the 4-in-1 is all of us, and then the dawn of man, you UNTs are gone, now the men are back.
There you go. You did it for me.
That's
There
what
you
I think. That's what I was thinking too.
Upon the day land flows like water, the 4-in-1 shall usher forth the dawn of men. Yeah.
Land flows like water doesn't really fit in very much.
Yeah, it was metaphorical, I guess. I don't know.
You know, the land is now free and flowing like water for the natives to reclaim.
Sure.
Great at metaphors.
Darius was great at Malifors.
Yeah. There were definitely a few points where like I said things that just directly contradicted how the game actually ended. For example is Ix was like saying, listen, we can bring them all back. We can like resurrect everyone. And maybe that will happen in the future or whatever. I don't know if that's the thing, but like he was sure. Like in that moment I was like, yeah, Ix, this might be right. But I think I decided later, like, okay, Ix, you don't know what you're talking about.
I think Ix was. I mean, he's still young. You know, he like is still probably ignorant and what's going on. I'd like to think though that Ari does save the void dragons though.
Mm-hmm.
Like
she does, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, a lot of them turn into humans again, right? The ones that were like partially transformed. But then maybe you give them a choice, like, hey, do you want to serve me as a void dragon? Help out.
You know who I think
serve us.
Yeah. Right.
You know who I think Toity and Darius might bump into while they're in the Soul Realm?
Who?
A certain sister.
Oh, it's
Itokali
and Oatly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Well, Itokali was the original Fire Genasi, right?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Itokali and Oatly, probably bumps into them there.
Oh, I think one part that I did that we never really resolved or didn't really get answered was that one time when I asked Raya to like call on one of her guardians to talk to my dad, and we had that like weird scene where he was just like, "Tell her I'm sorry." Like, you know, it's just like,
I mean, I'm
sure it's because of the Devourers, but like,
exactly.
I feel like there was.
No, it was just foreshadowing for that, really.
Got it.
I pretty much knew at that point, like, some of the stuff that was happening. So.
Oh, they're getting Hail and Selena now.
Oh, fun. Yeah, I feel like there's some points where I think I definitely said something about the Devourers not being a thing they can defeat at the end of the campaign. But apparently I changed my mind on that. So.
I mean, technically we didn't really defeat them in a sense.
I mean, you did.
We defeated them, but we
disintegrated them, basically.
We defeated them, but not by fighting them.
Yes. I mean, yeah, you just sent them back to the oblivion where they came from. So
you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull up Darius's like, because I had all that info, like who is death, and like all that, and I totally got answers to that here in this last session. I thought I wouldn't actually. Okay, so let me just read through this whole thing. Learn more about the caretaker, his past life, how he became the god of death, who he really was. I figured out all of that, and why he was dying. It was because he'd been doing it for a long time and he grew weaker and weaker. And why he was so defeated, and it was because, well, after everything, why he was hiding from death, because he was dying and trying to fight this back. I think Darius figured out why he got fired from being the god of death. We definitely learned what the effects and implications of there not being a caretaker.
Oh yeah. That was definitely a moment for me, like when that happened, when like I was like, holy crap, there was such huge consequences to like
for
that whole
a
thing,
single
right?
hit
Like
point.
because we had consequences happen before, but this was like the whole world.
Altering.
That was the moment where the campaign changed from, oh, there's some stuff going on here, but we don't really know.
This island is whack.
Yeah. And then it was like, oh, we just screwed the universe.
Learn why the Reaper was so keen on killing both Darius and the caretaker.
Okay, that is a question I did have. So that moment when Ari had that insight check with the Reaper, and I realized that he hasn't always been around. Is that just because the Devourers hadn't always been around? Is that what that was about, basically? Okay.
I mean, it was
like,
also, I mean, metaphorically, it was like a Christian, like, oh, death wasn't always around.
Death
but like
in
this specific case, the actual fulfillment of it was this guy or the Reaper, well, he wasn't originally part of this. So, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff that I like said throughout the campaign was like stuff that I maybe had an idea for or didn't, and I just said it, and then later on was like, all right, I gotta make sense of all this, and then kind of like put the pieces together, or like change my mind on like what a fulfillment of it was gonna be. But I think it all more or less was consistent.
No, I when I originally asked the question, I was mainly wondering, like, was there any like cool detail that you threw in there that we just never ran into?
Yeah, I was looking through my notes. I don't really think so. I think I basically got most of it out. Like, yeah, and credit to David Ludens for coming up with they're cooking the universe thing, because that was when we sat down and brainstormed the ending of this. We were talking back and forth about what are the Devourers actually doing? Like, what's their plan? Like, what are they doing? And he was like, well, this cycle thing keeps happening. What if this is happening a long time? And you said that when something dies, energy is released. So what if when the universe dies, energy is released and they eat it? And then they just keep doing it over and over again. I was like, that's brilliant.
That David has some great ideas.
Yep, he does.
Ooh, is the hood left with Ari?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. It's a different thing now, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, now it's Life's hood.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I don't know what it does, but we don't really need to know what it does. One thing I am excited for is to take stock of all the magic items in the game, and then decide which ones I might want to bring back, like in a dungeon somewhere or whatever. Like see if I want to bring one or two of them back, or you find one.
Caleb, I just gotta say, I am very disappointed that we never found an immovable rod.
I know, I'm sorry.
I will say
I'll fix that for next time.
It would be.
It's fine.
I feel
it's really fun.
I feel like it would be a little boring if we got like just say magic items again.
No, I know. I like because they have history now. It'd be fun to bring one or two of them back, maybe at some point.
Again, it's like the Easter egg thing. Like we don't want the whole next campaign to be like, oh my gosh, like all these references all the time. But an Easter egg every now and then is fun.
I will also agree. I think it's kind of crazy that in all of our side stories and main campaign and stuff, we never found or got a bag of holding.
That's not true.
I mean, that's crazy.
But
yeah, it's crazy. Like we never.
Yeah, it's like
in other campaigns they're super common and people like ask for them or buy them or something, and we never had them in any of the side stories. Or
like.
Do you get the joke that's happening here, Jordan?
I understand now. It took me a little bit. I'm like, oh.
Never.
Good old Yi.
Only normal bags.
Mm-hmm. Entirely normal bags that you just happen to fit a whole breastplate into.
Yeah, don't flip it inside out because it's personal. You don't just go inside of.
He has our feminine products in there. Come on.
Oh, jeez. So, what were we just talking about before the bag of holding?
Magical item.
Oh, I was going to
Magical
say.
items decorative turn.
Well, okay, so like a lot of the magical items, right? We found because we rolled on the loot table, and then there was a magical item, and this is what it is. So if we roll on the magical table in the next campaign, and it happens to be the same magical item.
Yeah, exactly. Like I imagine there'll be some of that, and then I might look through the magic item list and be like, oh, this actually perfectly thematically fits something in the campaign. I'll bring this one specifically back so that it will, be a recurring thing. So,
well, there's some that got. Wait, the beans couldn't come back though? The beans got destroyed.
The beans got turned into the tree.
Yep.
Yeah. So if we found the beans, that would be actually a very bad thing.
Yes.
Yep.
Which I don't know. Maybe you would enjoy it, Caleb.
So I'll promise you this: the enemies in the next campaign will not be the Devourers, right? Like we're not just gonna do round 2. They're back. Like I've already had ideas, like of what the next thing is gonna be. Mainly because, and the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, I'm gonna adapt the Savage Side Adventure Path for our thing. Like the more I've thought about it, the more I'm like, here's ways that I could subvert it and change it to like be for our thing, and it will end up being very different, I imagine. But the basic premise is going to stay more or less the same, which is helpful for me because then I basically know the end game going into it, at least one piece of the end game, and so I'll hopefully be able to foreshadow things. And obviously it will change and shift and whatever, but the foundation should be the same throughout the whole thing. I know what the new enemy is and what's going on in the world and all that stuff. So
it's Yi.
Yeah, it's actually Yi. The verdict will definitely be a major part of the next campaign. Yep.
So that's.
I'm excited to see like years from now when we're wrapping up that next campaign, like how different all of our lives are going to be. Like I feel like all of our lives are so different. Seth got a house. Emily switched jobs from one nursing field to another. I switched careers like 3 times. Jordan did college again, and I bought a house, and Caleb's now getting married and like has moved to Idaho. Like, I'm curious to see like, okay, in like 3-4 years now when we're finishing up that campaign, like,
friends and I are starting an LLC.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. That's actually happening right now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Okay. Now that I'm less emotional from the end of the campaign, I can say how much I love you guys, and I don't think I'm going to burst out into tears. So I love you guys a lot, and it was really great to play my first ever D&D game with you guys, because that first session never played at all before.
And you ended up becoming the main character.
I love getting to experience all of you guys, and I wouldn't have changed any of it. So yeah.
Awesome.
Didn't cry.
That is kind of funny how like you never played and you ended up becoming the primary character in the campaign.
It is really funny how I feel like all my first impressions of you guys were pretty much totally wrong.
Yep.
And I'm happy about that. But
I totally assumed that like all of you guys knew each other really well. I thought you were all buddies because you all came from the community, and I had just entered in.
I don't remember most of my first impressions of you. I remember thinking Alyssa looked really mean, and I was very wrong.
I'm so mean, A lot of people have told me that I look like a... Yeah, I remember telling my husband, I was like, the girl's really sweet, but she's painfully shy.
It's just very awkward because I had never played before, and I didn't know you guys, and I didn't know how stuff worked. And
now you're the person who knows most about how stuff works.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, I knew like how stuff worked because I had watched Critical Role for years at that point. And once again, like Jordan and I had been like, I really would love to find a campaign, but I work night shift. So how am I ever going to find something that fits into my schedule because I work different nights each week? Like it doesn't make any sense. Like I'm not going to be able to do that kind of thing. And literally worked out perfectly. And now in my new job, I never work Thursdays, and it's crazy. But yeah, 100%. Will take the, neutral title. Not good, not bad of rules police. It's fine.
So now that since we're thinking about next up, what is the setting of the next campaign going to be? Is it like you said
we can talk about that
120 years?
It's going to be 150 years.
Oh, 50, okay.
So it's going to be 1650, I guess. So it's a little bit more than 150 years. So this is 1493 at this point. It's going to be 1650. We're going to be playing in the golden age of piracy. Right? So I want to do not a complete inverse of the campaign, right? We're not going to like suddenly be in the Arctic or whatever. I want to do like a step sideways, and I want to do like, let's do, and okay, so this is one thing I wanted to ask you guys. I was trying to figure out how to name the next campaign, and I was wondering if I should stick with the Terra. If I should do Terra, something else, right? Every time. Do you want that, or should we do something else like that? Because my thought was Terra Invicta would be the next campaign, which is unconquered land, I believe it is. Let me double check what that means.
What year?
1650.
Yeah, it's unconquered land, which would be like continuing that. It's like it's not no man's land anymore, but it's not quite conquered yet, be like so. Golden Age of piracy. There are. And we're going to be in like coast of Africa. So it's going to be still kind of like, still a little bit tropical, but more focused on like piratey stuff and Renaissance, like in a city that's like, has ships going through it all the time, like that sort of stuff.
Guys, 35 years from the time that this campaign takes place, a legendary bard will appear.
Nice.
Wait, what?
A legendary bard will appear. Johann Sebastian Bach.
There you go.
Oh.
This is what happens when you take music history. You start learning like when.
I think the idea of continuing with Terra something is good. What was the name that you were thinking of?
Terra Invicta.
I feel like it's a little weird to me just because it's like it's so close yet also so different. It's like it just sounds strange.
It'll take us a little bit of getting used to, but I think it will.
Plus, like, are we going to rename our group chat?
Yes.
No.
I mean, it'd be kind of confusing.
That's what I was saying. Like, we're going to change.
I mean, would it though? I mean, we would just know that, like, that's it's like an honoring of our first campaign.
I mean, I don't really care that much, really. But
let's just
be Terra. It'll just be Terra. We'll just change it to Terra.
No, that's your dog.
Wait.
Also, if somebody changes it, I'm just gonna change it back.
Okay.
Yeah,
fine.
Emily will do that. I do not put it past her.
Wait. Okay. So what is Terra is ground or earth. What is sky?
Sky in Latin.
Well, what about water? If it's about piracy.
Caelum.
It sounds so much like your
Caelum. Caelum.
What about water?
Yeah, what's water?
Because this is going to be, if it's like the golden age of piracy.
I got to be honest, guys. I have tried so many different variations, and I settled on Terra Invicta because it's one of the only things that actually sounds good. Like Terra Aqua doesn't make any sense.
No.
Or Aqua Invictus. Aqua Invicta.
Aqua Nullius.
Aqua Nullius, no.
No
No
Come
man's
on.
water.
No, I really would prefer
seas,
like continuing
no man's
with
seas.
the land theme, like this land, like Terra Firma could be one of them.
I mean, because Terra is the name of the world, also.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think Terra.
I thought it was Thrae.
Invictus.
It's Thrae.
Or I guess it's
Well,
Thrae.
Terra in Latin is just Earth, so yeah.
Thrae Invictus actually sounds cool.
But that would just not make any
I
sense.
know.
But Terra. I'm fine with keeping with
The
Terra.
only thing I see weird from that is like Terra Invictus. You have to like kind of put a stop in between it, or else it sounds weird. Or either that, or it just becomes Terra Invictus. And like you just
Sorry, it would be Invicta. I don't know if I said Invictus before, but yeah, Terra Invicta.
Terra Invicta.
I feel like
Terra Nullius has basically become one thing.
Oh, I know, but I mean like because there's a Terra Invictus. Like I feel like I'm just gonna call it Terra Invictus. Yeah, just
Terra
it kind of
Invicta, yeah.
Invicta.
Invicta.
that's fine.
Terra Invicta.
I think it'll just take some time to get used to.
Yeah.
I like that's the only problem I see is like it will just take time to get used to. But that's like kind of every named campaign that I've ever done. It just takes a little while to.
Part of me is like, let's make a clean break, but I guess it's not completely like clean break since things will have.
Well, and so same world. So
exactly. Yeah.
If we were doing a completely different world, I'd say no. We just need to keep
of course. Yeah.
But since it's a continuation, it makes sense that it would be the name would also continue with that.
And my initial thought too was just to do Latin, but not like Terra something. But I kept looking for like good Latin phrases, and I just couldn't find anything I liked. But I found a bunch of good Terra ones, so I was like, well, this will work. But yeah, so yeah, Golden Age of Piracy, Renaissance. We're gonna be on the coast of Africa.
Terra.
What about Terra Nullius?
Terra Nullius.
I was too close to Nutella.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, so I know people have already thought about characters. Emily and Jordan, do you guys have any ideas?
I'm gonna play one,
So,
and I'm not gonna be a healer.
Yeah, Seth's gonna be Wild Magic Druid.
Are we gonna want to have a session 0?
Oh yeah, we will for sure.
Cool.
Then I'll get back to you then while I have my idea of creating a character in session 0.
In 3 months.
Yep.
We're not gonna be playing a main campaign in 3 months. That's just weird.
Yep.
Because audience who, I know there's like 20 million of you now. Thank you all for your support through time. But it is true how we joke about it on camera. As soon as I leave this chat, I do not think about any of this. None of it.
Okay. I could reveal my idea for my character. Or I could, and Caleb already knows, or we could continue.
Why don't you tell us the class that you're thinking?
I was about to say, it might honestly help me to have some sort of idea.
Okay, I'll tell you as long as you promise, no matter what I say, to not play a healer.
I mean, I'm
Unless
pretty
you
sure
really
she was
want
going to
to.
do that anyway.
Yeah, she's already said that she's not going to play a healer,
Right.
so.
Yeah.
Okay. So the class
I'm playing
thinking,
healer.
the
Sorry.
class I'm thinking is a rogue arcane trickster with artificer and fighter eldritch knight.
That's a wacky combination.
But what level are we starting at?
Good old one.
So it's going to take him a
which
while.
one are you going to be?
Probably rogue.
I'm like, I heard like 20 different things in there. So
Yeah, that's actually,
have-
you know what's kind of funny? And maybe it'll be different now that we're in a place where this is actually more relevant. But Atabai had the whole thing with Arcane Tricksters, you have like your mage hand you can use for all these things, never freaking became relevant. Never was relevant at all. Like it probably was beforehand when Teppan was like going around and stealing stuff from people, but like
You'll have more opportunity for that sort of thing in this game. So.
Yeah, but now I'm not playing a character like
No, I know. I'm talking to Jordan mainly.
I will say I'm thinking about being a monk because I have enjoyed playing a monk before.
Monk's fun.
And I feel like that's very different from what I played for 3.5 years as Raya.
Yeah.
This not having a dedicated healer would make potions more useful.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which potions never became really relevant.
Did we already say
that? Because I had potions that I was
are wanting to play during this time?
Say again.
Did we say what Seth and Alyssa are wanting to play?
I'm playing a druid, which has some healing magic.
I'm playing a barbarian. So I'm starting with 1 level of barbarian because the idea of my character is that she like doesn't like fighting, and so she like, but that's like her innate thing, right? Is that like that's like what she's naturally good at is fighting, but she wants to try to like solve the world's problems through like knowledge and through like those things. So she's gonna study, right, and then take 3 levels of bard, and then hopefully by then my hope is that she will have accepted the fact that she has this piece of her that she needs to embrace, and then she'll keep taking levels of barbarian after that.
Just make sure you pick your stats in a way that actually lets you like multi-classing.
Oh, I've already built her. She's
Okay.
done. Like I've got her gone good.
That was one thing that surprised me when I first started multi-classing. I'm like, oh, like the first one you pick doesn't require you to have any specific stats. Everyone after that does.
No, I definitely focused more heavy on the barbarian aspect of it, and then the bard part will hopefully just help enhance those barbarian abilities, because I want to pick College of Swords as my thing, and that really will enhance a lot of her skills. So,
but are you? Let's put this like we're gonna have a charismatic character though, right? Like,
yeah, she's gonna be charismatic. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, because I was originally planning on
now whether or not I can actually pull that off as a player, that's gonna be a whole different story.
Because my character is gonna be a little charismatic, but not nearly as much as I'd originally planned. Which actually kind of, I'm not sure how though that will work. And so,
Burton will probably play a very charismatic character as a rogue.
Rogues aren't very charismatic.
See,
I thought they were, because they're good at like deception and
they could
things
be
like that.
Yeah,
They're more stealth than deception.
It depends on how good you roll your stats and what you're allowed to put your good stuff in.
I mean,
Atabai was charismatic because he was a warlock, not because he was a rogue.
it's better to think of my character as more of a really like brain smart tinkerer who also is extraordinarily good with sleight of hand and like slipping by stuff and like being sneaky and like, oh, what was that noise? Did you hear that noise over there? That was pretty scary. You think that like, yeah, that noise was really there. And yeah, oh, this is a beautiful picture of your kids. And I actually have some allies of mine that are that have grabbed your kids, and that if you don't like do what we say, then we're gonna have to like. He wouldn't actually do something like that, but it's like, yeah, I totally picked your pocket while we were distracted with that thing over there.
nice.
I can see it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how like the group dynamic, with these new characters comes into play too. Especially now that we all like are coming into it like really good friends this time around. So it's going to be similar to side stories, but we also know that this is going to be long term. So
it'll be interesting to see how our characters know each other, because I feel like from what you've said about your character, Alyssa, our characters could have known each other, but I don't know what your backstory is necessarily. So
yeah, I mean, we'll talk about that in session 0.
Yeah, we got 3 months to think about things.
Yeah, because we're going to do a bunch of one-shots.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
As much as I would like to continue talking with you guys, I'm literally, I think my voice is literally just about to die entirely. So,
yeah.
Any last thoughts? Otherwise,
I love you all.
Love you guys.
Love you, Caleb. Thank you for being an amazing GM.
Thank you for posting that you wanted to
We
play
appreciate
RPGs.
Yes.
Of course. I always want to play RPGs. Even when I'm horribly sick and probably shouldn't.
So, yeah. Love you all. This has been great.
This has been Terra Nullius. We're done. Adios.
1